Okay, we're live. I'm Helen Thomas. I'm from AnyQuest. We're enterprise AI enabler. It's a huge honor for me while I'm at South by Southwest, having Chetna, and she's been the tech woman in the industry, IBM, Amazon, Wipro, and EdTech, big data, artificial intelligence. Thank you for joining us, Chetna.
Thank you, Helen, for presenting this opportunity today to speak here. So very delighted, very happy to be here.
Do you mind sharing, your background?
Absolutely. So my name is Chetna Warade. As Helen mentioned, I'm in the tech industry for over 22, 23 years. I come from computer science background. I am a trusted advisor for senior executives, and I'm a passionate advocate for developers. So I'm an advocate and architect overall, if you ask me. I started my career in starting with IBM research at Cambridge, Massachusetts here, moving on to developer advocate for Watson data platform. And then as I worked on early data science back in early 2000s. So worked on knowledge graphs, semantic, back in 2000, early 2000, when the industry was still wasn't ready for these advanced technologies. So my career has been kind of on that progression. Lately in 2023, I led technical product management for AI360, which is an AI platform in Wipro. And as you can know that as cloud, there are different multi-cloud environments. So building an AI platform for that is quite challenging, and addressing customer issues on those different native platforms is also very interesting and challenging. So I think that's where my focus has been. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about AI, and if you have any questions, happy to help with that.
Before we dive into AI, which is definitely the top, hot topic right now, do you mind kind of just sharing with us how you got started with computer science? It's just so rare to have a woman like you in STEM, in particularly architect role. So how did you get started? What made you successful?
So the great question, Helen. So for me, much early in my academic years, I would say serendipity. I remember I was aspiring to be an electrical engineer. However, I came across computer science back then, very early 2000s, late 1990s. And since then, though, I'm insanely curious and stubborn, and as I said, very passionate, learning new technologies, learning new things. And computer science kind of gave me all of those opportunities. So I started programming in assembly, C++, Java, Python. So I see myself as a polyglot programmer as well. And fortunately, early in my career, IBM, for instance, it's a place to dream big. And I worked on grid computing about 20 years ago. So those are the kind of projects that kind of expand your theoretical and academic knowledge. So that's kind of a bit of my, as I said, but I think the main driver is really my curiosity. As I said, like, I'm insanely curious. I like to learn new things, and I'm not afraid to roll my sleeves and start coding, and just even start with Hello World program, and just bring those ideas. However, as you know, that there is always a challenge when it comes to applying those concepts and methodologies in the industry. So it's a bit of it's an interesting experience, as you have ideas and theories in mind, but how do you validate that in the industry? So
that's a great point. So just kind of to sum it up, being curious, being persistent, being passionate, and learning the whole way. You were in artificial intelligence before the nation, the world got excited with OpenAI, ChatGPT. So how did it, look like before the big consumer, hype? What did you work on? And what's your view, given your deep tech background? What's your worldview of artificial intelligence, if I may ask?
Sure. And I guess as you know, artificial intelligence came in theory about in 1950s. So really this idea of home automation or, automated, there are movies, sci-fi movies. So if you will, you've seen those movies quite prior to. So I think it has brought curiosity and attention to itself. However, the adoption, as I said, there is a lag to say. So if you look at any, there is an order to the learning here, right? There is, in order for, if you look at problems that were there 20 years ago, for instance, there were no mobile devices, there was connectivity. So if you look at I think the things of the innovation and the automation is all going in that sequence, right? So I think back then when we were in academics, it was all about, we didn't had pervasive devices, we didn't had internet availability. So with that, I think the AI has become more common as we speak today in 2024. So to me, from my perspective, the innovation and the development in AI is going to still continue at a fast pace, as you can see, and there's going to be a lot more attention and budget now allocated for that, for sure. So I think that's a great change. And back then, there was always folks who focused on machine learning, building new algorithms, whether it is supervised, unsupervised, and training right. models. So that was always happening. However, the common adoption, there is a time to that adoption. And I think at this point in 2023, 24, we are seeing that it's a tipping point where, it has got mass attention.
So we do want to talk about data because it's like the field for AI. Just look at the journey that you described. Do you see the mobility, it's internet, it's mobile devices, and the big cloud computing, right? All of this sort of generated huge amount of data, and it's growing at exponential speed. And you have supercomputers or, the CPUs and the mega computers or quantum computers, kind of just accelerating the data processing power. So do you feel like things could get out of control? I mean, just from layman point of view, it's like, whoa. And I think there is new Wall Street Journal talking about on Facebook, there are sort of a new type of, scams, like vulnerable people got fooled by these AI generated personas giving, investment advice, and people, these kind of things like came to the world, and we feel like we fell behind because it's moving so fast and so advanced, and it's difficult to tell what's real, what's not real. And unfortunately, such crime just hit us before even the general population got caught up using AI as a tool for good versus, the bad characters.
Absolutely. So I think I want to kind of, so what I'm hearing is, Helen, so I think we are at a point in time where we also passed Moore's law, where the computing, right? This is where the last 2 to 3 years, I think we've surpassed Moore's law. There's just tremendous amount of excitement an exhilaration, to create workloads, to create use cases, to run on this computational power. And along with that, I think with that great empowerment came these risks. So I think, Helen, what's going to happen is that, and I think the concerns that kind of mentioned that, it has reached common population. So it's really about raising awareness of that, not taking messages or things on screen too hard. And so I think what technology has done is it has empowered common man. For instance, like mobile phones, right? I think there have been technologies like the payment system, right? Like I think now we can pay. We don't even have to use credit cards. Payment can be done over mobile phones. So I think that creates a perception in users' mind that AI will also empower common man's, journey, and that kind of brings them to that curiosity brings them to AI. But however, as you said, that a lot of the non-technologists per se will fall into that pit, per se, where the perceived, as you said, like the personas, the AI persona, the deep fakes that are there. So really, but then again, I do believe in human common sense too. I think humans are, as I say, we learn and we evolve and we grow. So we're all here to learn by mistakes. So as you can see that, really, I think what it warrants for founders like us is that we need to build safeguards, we need to build guardrails when we do create such technologies. And again, with social media, there is obviously it's difficult to put those guardrails. But I guess I would only urge just to when in doubt, don't do it. I think that's like the simple formula. If or talk to a person. Cross-verify, does this claim looks legit, talk to a friend, talk to family, or, before making, let's say, financial transaction and things like that. So I think those, but good point, Helen. And I think I'm certainly wary of those things myself.
Okay. So you're the scientist, you're the engineer, you're the architect. Why don't you just give us your holistic view in terms of the risks with AI in general, leveraging your knowledge, your experience.
Sure.
I think you may have some materials you could share with us. I would love to see that. And I think our audience would like to capture that as well.
Sure, absolutely. Let me share my screen.
Sure.
So I think, Helen, I would like to, so I think I have two, so at the start of the year in 2024, sure. There was a lot of the leaders met at Davos, Switzerland for World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. And as you're saying, like the discussions that you're having here, a lot of studies were run usually to address this more scientifically, more data driven. So I think these are some of the guidelines. So for instance, Gartner published, usually Gartner publishes a hype cycle every middle of the year. So this particular slide was published in August 2023. And as you can see that we are heading towards like the toe of disillusionment when it comes down to technologies such as generative AI and cloud native. So I think those are the kind of guidelines to follow too, right? So as you can see that, if you're wondering about what does 2024 look like, how that goes into 2025 strategically, what areas to focus on. So I think the hype cycle is a pretty good guideline for that. You will also see that there are also these futuristic technologies. By the way, are you able to see the slide okay? Like, are the fonts okay? But this is otherwise I can send a link later on. I can post a link on that.
I can see it. It's a little small on the screen right now, but we can do screen capture as we can definitely see it. And then the people can, zoom in and look at it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this is public information. So what I can do is at the event, I can put a link of that so that people can actually just look at the image and take a closer look. So, as a, I mean, as a product and product builder and a founder yourself, right? I think the things that are more futuristic, technology-wise, purely just technology-wise, are neurosymbolic AI, and and that basically you're looking at development, high automation on the server side, again on the um, behind the firewall data, which is the enterprise data.
Right.
The other, moving to the next slide. So one other, obviously, from a high level perspective, if you're looking at the next 2 years, according to again the World Economic Forum, these are the 10 concerns that they have for next 10 years. And given that we are from the tech background and we want to kind of solve the problem, we are more in the solution space rather than the problem space. I'm going to focus on the ones that are circled in yellow. So, and this is quite, this concurs with my observations as well from last few years with customers directly, is that cyber insecurity is quite high. So I think these are the top concerns for any I guess tech leader. Is cyber security. Another area to be concerned about is the misinformation and disinformation. So what's going to happen is that for the next couple of years, we are going to keep hearing news and rumors in media a lot about new technologies, perceptions, delusions, hallucinations. So the possibilities, the kind of possibilities that it brings to, so a lot of these technologies are created to inspire, to create, to spark imagination. However, as you said, that if lack of clarity, lack of experience can lead into misinformation and disinformation. So I think that's the area that we are going to having to work for. So as I said, like building safety, like guardrails, like how do we do that? How do we build responsible AI, ethical AI? So different geographies tend to name it different nomenclature. And then you will see that within 10 years, a lot of those technology concerns go down, and then we do have environment-related problems to focus on. So I think that's kind of my view, Helen. And
how would you counter it? We can talk about the risks and the litigation and all of that. Just for democratization to improve productivity, especially on the enterprise side, for knowledge workers, creative people to free up their time to utilize AI, for the good effect, counter the risks. What are the things you think people should do on the learning curve and embrace the technology?
So really solid observations, Helen, and a lot of so you'll notice that the people who are aware of these technologies are very few, less than 2%, less than 1% of population, and a large number of population are still like, and especially we're talking about enterprise developers, enterprise knowledge workers, right? So they are still they are still kind of close to the ground reality, close to their day-to-day work, and they have built business around those existing practices and experiences. And however, there is this new knowledge coming up. So as a leader, it's really important to spend time in quality training, quality adoption. And the trend I've seen is, as opposed to one single, like a chat bot, do it all kind of a bot, what's going to emerge in next 2 years, or even as we speak, are capabilities and value-driven LLMs. So what's going to happen is that, for instance, if there are HR professionals, a group of HR professionals, they'll work with LLMs, create their own workflows around it. And these are, if they're sales, they're marketing, finance, a lot of these models are going to emerge within the enterprise, behind the firewall where there is, where the data is PHI data and a lot of other, as I said, a lot of sensitive information that exists. So those are the trends and on the consumer side, however, I think it's going to be very interesting. A lot of the highs and lows, I think, for instance, like hype is going to come, and then a lot of the technologists and non-technologists, for that matter, will evaluate and assess the time spent, the productivity gained, and those are the factors that will define.
I do want to talk about the cost of it, right? And you know, it costs billions of dollars, training the large language models, right? And still, hallucination, it's kind of static up to the point that how data trained to that time period. There are tactics like RAG and other ways to make generative AI more up-to-date, more productive, more reliable. But as you said, the knowledge and training is kind of limited. So with your background, particularly with IBM, with more data security, and then knowing that the LLMs are out there in the public and accessible, if your corporate senior staff leadership team, how do you balance the accessibility of general AI capability versus private data security, enterprise approach, which could be more expensive?
Yeah. So I guess let me see if I so basically, I think, as I said, like I think I want to step back one
Sure.
step, Helen, and then I want to talk a little bit about the areas of concern. So if I know that in except the major 5 companies in tech, most companies are right now really focused on their ROI and their profit margins. So right at this time, most executives are really thinking hard about it, and that's where AI becomes a central in conversation. And as you know, that businesses have always looked for automation, for software to bring those savings.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that conversation is continue to go. And as you mentioned that, data is still on cloud, and then there is security concerns. How is that going to look like? So if you look at a typical, and again, a lot of these may sound very common information too, but I think the existing a way of methodology, for instance, if you look at sales professionals, they spend a lot of time generating leads, they build networks, but they also do a lot of, let's say, they also create a lot of reports and RFPs and, sales contacts in place. So there is just a lot of automation. There's quite a bit of repetitive work that can be reduced using LLMs by, creating these enterprise models that are again built on kosher data, again behind the firewall, not and again I'm talking about the B2B environment, and not based on the internet information, but based on their data which is inside within the firewall, and that optimization will continue to happen. And similarly, you will see similar focus on HR. You'll similarly see focus on marketing. And with the development, you already know, like technologists they already have Copilot. They're already using Visual Studio with Copilot and all the use cases. So there are just tremendous amount of opportunity in front of us. One other, I guess I wanted to share this slide with you just to show you the opportunities that lie ahead, especially in the enterprise market and what I've seen, especially last couple of years.
Thank you.
So as you can see, I think I kind of did talk about capabilities and apps. So as you see, most of these individual groups and business units, they'll tend to create their capabilities and apps. So sales, HR, AI ops is going to be a big area. So that gain of productivity, so time saving, revenue, ROI, that will continue to happen. From where from my perspective, I think the focus areas are going to be on operational side, again, security side, making the server side, making your enterprises more reliable, um, uh, focusing on the performance. So, the both in terms when the performance is both about speed and, time to delivery. Also cost is going to be a huge factor. If it's, as you said, if it's expensive, most companies are going to step back and then reassess. And
Right.
sustainability. Sustainability is kind of a new area of concern, but
Right.
I think it's almost apparent that it cannot be ignored anymore. So I know that the past 20 years have been, if you look at the typical, we have built products to keep the user hooked, or make the product sticky. We want users to keep coming back. I think the opportunity that lies in front of a startup is creating a delightful experience. How does our product, how does the user interface, user interaction make the customer feel? Does it bring a smile on the customer's face? Are they pleasantly surprised? So I think those are the opportunities that are going to emerge in front of us.
So would you want to share more about the recent work you did, particularly with, HR, the projects you did related to AI, and also tell the audience how they can reach out to you, as you're a very senior person with very deep knowledge in this area, and your advice, the CEOs, the C-suite. So please just share more, of what you did recently and how people can reach out to you.
Absolutely. So I think my contact information is on LinkedIn. So if you look at my profile and contact info, I think that is the best way to contact me. In my recent work, Helen, I worked with HR professionals, a group of we started with some 15 HR professionals and then moved on to about 300 or so HR professionals. And really, we just worked on internal enterprise data, which is, again, highly confidential, sensitive information, built an LLM based off of that data. And because of the fact that it was there was a very closed feedback mechanism available. The accuracy of the model was very was pleasant, and these are practitioners. They are not technologists and they don't do coding or any of that sort. But they were looking forward, especially to bring new professionals on board, because there is just a lot of time for HR professionals to understand their day-to-day business. The interaction with external vendors, contractors, and how they all put together their different processes that are in the company. So I think we received tremendous amount of positive feedback from this group, and they were very eager to adopt. So, and that's how kind of the balls started rolling. And again, it was eating our own dog food, essentially. I think that was the kind of principle that I followed. That and as you mentioned, that obviously the challenge is to get started. Early skunk work when such projects come in. You do need those early adopters to who will keep confidence in you, and who will spend time looking at testing, in fact, qualifying as LL models are built. So essentially, you do have to spend time in quality testing. So that's again the fail fast.
It's really impressive what you've done, and I can just imagine how much you're going to do. I'd love to, have you back. I'd also love to talk about education related to AI, because I know you have background in that particular area as well. And thank you so much for doing this. And I'm sure the audience may have more questions. So this will be on replay. And everyone, if you want to get more, thought leadership advice from Chetna, just reach out to her on LinkedIn. And then thank you so much. And this is AQ24 series, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you again and many other innovative leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen. It was a pleasure.